What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Playing the Field. I'm your host, as always, Ryan Field, the sports anchor here at WABC in New York City, longtime Bachelor fan, joined now by our usual favorites, Jen Matarese from here at ABC in New York. She's our Bachelor expert, and our Bachelor insider, Gina Sirico from KABC in Los Angeles. Ladies, welcome. It's great to be back, and we are more than welcome and great to see our next guest. Joan is here from the Golden Bachelorette, and Joan, welcome to the show. It's great to have you back. We've known you since day one. We so thank you for coming back and making, we can call them regular appearances on our podcast. We can definitely call that.
She's a friend of the pod.
She's a friend of the program, as they say. And we understand that Chock was supposed to be here with you as well, but there's been some technical difficulties in having the hubs here today.
Yeah, I'm so sorry he's not here. Well, thank you for having me, and I'm so sorry he's not here. I know he was planning on being here, but I think there might be airplane issues that he was on a flight because of a canceled flight yesterday. Well, I don't know. He plans on being here. He may just pop in. We don't know.
We would love that. And it's nice to know that Chock is just like the rest of us and deals with plane issues trying to get from A to B.
Stars, they're just like you.
Stars are just like us. That's a great point.
There you go.
Stars. We're reality. We don't have any talent or anything. We just showed up.
But stars nonetheless. Let's be fair about that.
Thank you.
Oh, I get to kick this off?
Yeah, you do.
You
well, I already asked the first question about Chock.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was like a real
That was a question. All right, I'm going to ask the first question. This sounded much better in rehearsal. Joan, what have the last few months been like for you since the show and getting settled in with Chock? Give us all the updates, all the things.
Very different than I think either one of us ever thought it was going to be like. We kind of thought we would, become this couple and then we would like live our lives. But we have gotten so many other opportunities just because we were a successful couple. I think that helps, and people want to continue to, hear from you or see what you're doing. So, we had this idea that we would get an apartment in New York, and we tried for like 2 weeks or maybe a month, and then that didn't work out very well. So we see each other kind of traveling. We see each other every once in a while, like on vacations. We've gone into a couple with each other. We've been on some podcasts. We've been people have brought us to places so we can be on podcast, or we got to go to Disneyland. We get to do really fun things. So a lot of the time we see each other about every 2 to 3 weeks, more like every 2-3 weeks. Seems a little long to be apart. So about every 2 weeks we meet someplace, either in Wichita or in Rockville, Maryland, or in LA or New York or wherever they fly us. We say yes and we go, because you only get to do this once, and we say yes to everything.
Do you think once things die down a little bit, you'd go back to apartment hunting in New York, or has something else popped in your minds as to maybe we'd like to go here or do this? And, do you have any vacations coming up you're excited about?
Well, we would still love to be in New York. In fact, we were there last week with my 93-year-old mother and my 83-year-old aunt who was visiting here from Spain. And we took them to 2 Broadway shows. And the entire time I was there, I kept saying, we need to be here. We need to be here. Like this, somebody described it that I vibrate on the same energy as New York City.
I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel so happy when I'm there, and I feel so energized, and so does Chock. So I think we got our, we got a renewed need to be there and want to be there. So I think as things, are settling down a little bit. I mean, we have a new Bachelor coming in, and there's going to be a lot of focus on him, and I think a lot less on Chock and I, and we will probably settle back into more normalcy. And that will be probably a really, really good time to start looking, because the thing is with New York, if you aren't there when something comes available, you lose it. So you really have to spend some time up there to find a place.
Yeah. New York real estate, never fun. But in the end, I guess when you get it, it'll be great. When you do finally get your dream place, it'll be great.
Yeah, I can't wait.
You mentioned the new Golden Bachelor. Have you and Chock gotten to talk to Mel yet? Have you met him? What first impressions? What do you think?
So Chock got to meet him, or at least see him. So the event that they had, the Hulu event or Disney event, where he was announced, Chock was there. I wasn't there. I was on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen.
Nice.
I was the guest bartender. It was hilarious. So I had
that's awesome.
to do that. So I didn't get to meet him, but Chock saw him, said he's a good looking guy. I know that my friend Susan met him, from Golden Bachelor, but I have not met him and I have not spoken to him. So he's like a total mystery to me, just like he is to kind of you guys. Like I haven't, like when he appears on the screen in September, he will be like a totally new person to me.
I was at that event too. I didn't get to meet him. I did see him. I was kind of like Chock. I didn't get to see him, or I didn't get to chat with him, but we did meet him.
Yeah, I'm sure he was a very popular guy.
Yes.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to meet Mel at the Disney Upfronts, and I can honestly say, he's a great guy, and I think he's going to make an incredible Golden Bachelor. So we're excited to watch his journey unfold here in the fall. Give us the timeline here, Joan, for those of us that have kind of lost track with everything else going on in the world. How long have you and Chock now been, let's just say, together, quote unquote, since the show? How many months are we into this now?
So that's a really good question. Now you're going to make me count. So we got engaged right in the beginning of August, maybe August 2nd, I think.
Okay.
And so, but then we were a secret for like 3 months because our finale wasn't until the middle of November. So like, let's say August 2nd. So September, October.
It's like November, 10 months. I already did the math for you.
Thank you.
That's legit.
Right, you're
yeah.
Gosh. I got to go back to like 5th grade.
We were counting on our fingers. So
yes,
okay.
we did count on our fingers, to be fair.
I was doing it. I was like, so 10 whole months, and it's gone so fast. It's like flown.
Well, how about this? I mean, as you approach your year anniversary, and we're obviously excited to celebrate that, what is something that maybe you didn't know about Chock at the beginning that you're learning to know about him now that's perhaps made you fall in love with him even more?
Oh, what strikes me like kind of the most about him is if I tell him something like that's wrong in my life or that's something that's stressing me, he's a fixer. He's like all over it. He's like calling me, he's sending me text messages of things that could help. He's sending me pictures of things. He's a fixer, and it's really nice to have someone who like owns your problems with you, so you don't have them by yourself. Because once once my late husband died, once he passed away, I felt like I was really alone in this world. Even though I have this wonderful family, I have these kids, I felt like I owned every little problem that happened, everything financial that happened. Like on the way up to New York City, my car got wrecked. A piece of like a fender from someone else's car hit mine, and like there's all this damage all over. And Chock has been like so sweet. He kind of owns the problem with me, and that feels like so safe and makes life just a little easier. So I think that may be one of my favorite things that I learned about him after being on the show.
That's so sweet. That's a real partner there.
That's exactly right. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So
you love to see it.
Yeah, exactly. And we heard the sad news, of course, about Grant and Juliana parting ways. Had you gotten to know them at all? And I guess through your experience with Chock, what's some advice you could give future couples of this franchise?
Yeah, it's tough. I'll tell you when you come. I got to know them a little bit because I went to their finale. I had met both of them. Well, not both of them. I'd met Grant prior to the finale. He came to our finale, and then we had like a little after party, engagement party thing, and he came to that. So I got to know him a little bit there. I would say to just general couples like coming out of the Bachelor franchise, we were really lucky because we got a lot of happy couple visits. I don't know if you know what those are. You probably do. You're Nation people. So, but just for people who don't, they give you time when you're in kind of secret mode for those like 3 months where you have to be secret. They obviously know that you need to see each other and you need to keep fostering this relationship because it's really new. And they give you these things called happy couple visits where you go to kind of a hideout and you get to spend 4 or 5 days together every once in a while. So when we were coming to the end of my season, they said, what do you want? Is there something that at the end of the season that we should know or that you need or from us? And I said, I need more happy couple visits. I don't feel like 3 is enough for us. And they said, okay. And they gave us 5. They actually gave us 6. We were only able to do 5.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was really cool. It really solidified our relationship so much to the point where we were, by our 5th visit, like our 5th time together, by this point, we had probably spent 20 or so days, totally collectively together. And, we were almost bored. We were like, okay, I think 5 is enough for us because you're stuck in a house. I shouldn't say stuck in a house. You get to be in a house together, but you can't leave at all.
And it was just to clarify, bored in a good way, right, Joan? You guys were bored in a good way. Yes.
Yeah, we're like, we know each other really well now. We don't have like a lot of testing the waters anymore. The first time it was really awkward. Like we go to the house and we haven't seen each other almost in a month at that point. And like I get there before him. No, he gets there before me. And we're not even allowed out into the driveway to like greet each other. So the Uber pulls in, the car service pulls in with me in the car, and he's standing at the door with a glass of wine, and it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But I think we were both really nervous, and we needed a glass of wine, which helped immensely. But we were driving like you're not strangers. You had talk a million times on the phone. You spent this really weird, intense time together on the show. But if you hadn't seen each other in a whole month, like I was nervous. I felt really awkward. So my advice to people that are, coming off the show to have a successful, next step in the process, I'd say spend as much time together as you possibly can. And even if that's just FaceTiming and spending like a whole evening together, like watch a series together, just like hang out with each other, even if it's virtually, just to get to know each other really well, because it gets more and more uncomfortable the longer you spend apart, and you need to solidify that relationship. You need to, make it stronger, when you're still really familiar.
Yeah. We had Teresa on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and she talked about your time as Golden Bachelorette. And she said, you really got to do it right, where like, you got to kind of like make your own rules, sort of, in that, like you said, whoever you picked, you weren't gonna like have to move or have to, you know what I mean? You were making those sorts of rules and kind of like setting the standard for what you wanted. And I think that maybe, I don't know, it seemed like maybe you were able to kind of set yourself up for success a little bit more. Do you feel like that was the case? I mean, it seems like it, even with just you talking about the happy couples, happy couple moments.
I think that you have to really advocate for what you need. And so I didn't want anybody coming on the show thinking that I was going to do something different that they had in their mind. Like, I'm sure a lot of people go into this experience thinking someone's going to have to move. And I went into this thinking no one has to move, because I know that would be too big of an ask for someone to ask of me, because I have my kids and my grandkids here, and I have my 93-year-old mother and my 86-year-old mother-in-law. I can't leave this group of people. They need me. I need them. They're part of me. I would not be happy not being close to them, not being able to see them often. So I knew that going into this, I wasn't going to move, but I also thought that's too big of an ask for me to ask somebody else to do the same thing. They have their support group, and they have the things that make them happy in life. Look, Chock's here.
Hi, Chock. We never doubted him for a minute.
I knew he'd make it if he could.
That's some knight in shining armor stuff right there.
Yes, indeed.
Right?
What a stud. And Chock, I mean, this is awesome that you're here. We never doubted you for a minute that you would make it happen for us today. And we can't thank you enough for being here. We won't tell you all the things that Joan said about you while you weren't on the podcast. You're going to have to listen back.
Well, and I'm sure they're all true and accurate.
All true and accurate. That's
and very sweet.
And very sweet, we should point out. What have we did the math. What have the last 10 months been like for you as you have this new amazing woman in your life?
It's been pretty hectic. A lot of times in airplane, a lot of, times, days, weeks in airplanes, but it's been great. We've got to see a lot of the United States, done a couple overseas trips, spent a lot of time with family. And just this last week, we were in New York with her Aunt Henny and her mother, Mary. Had a great time there, and they were great hosts. Mary kind of comped us on the whole deal, and it was fun. We ate well, 2 good plays, and stayed at a great place. So it was a very good time.
Nothing like a weekend in New York, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So what has been the best part of this experience for you, other than meeting Joan, of course, but has it afforded you guys a lot of different opportunities that you might not have ever have gotten the chance to do?
Well, Joan, have you answered that? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, your turn. I've been talking a lot.
Okay. The opportunities are really, it's love. We're a little bit up in age. Joan nor I, and I think I could speak for her. We didn't do this for fame or fortune. And, you chase a little bit of that, and it's a lot of hard work. You don't realize that. I think the people out there in social media think that it's just real easy. But, and you want to, I'm just jumping around, but you want to post, things that matter to you and should matter to other people. But it's, the whole thing is just the opportunity to meet Joan, to meet a lot of great guys, to meet Joan's family, to spend time together and work on our future. So it's, and we've spent a lot of time together. We really have, for people that live, a couple thousand miles away. It's been good. And we travel well together, which makes it very easy.
We were just talking about how you guys kind of like Joan as the Golden Bachelorette got to do it right, essentially, where like she got to kind of like set the tone and really like make her own rules about just like what she wants out of the relationship for both sides of it. You know what I mean? So it's great that to see it kind of like really be a success. Chock, for you, like, we were talking to Joan about things that she learned about you, in this time. What have you learned about Joan? Like, obviously, we do know that you have a crazy sock collection. But are there other things?
Say that, Chock.
She didn't talk about that. I just remembered it.
And this is, I probably shouldn't use the brand name, but Bombas, I've come addicted to them. They are fantastic, and I don't get paid by them, but they fit so well. They're no shows. I wore them this morning, and I'm wearing them now. So I love my socks. We were at a mall in Maryland. It was just an incredible, fancy mall, and there was this just exclusive sock store, and I was like, I got to go in. And Joe's like, no, you can't.
Okay,
you have
keep
enough.
walking.
So I made it past that. Sir. So I'm working on my addiction problems. But and I'm sorry. Let's go back to the question, because you got me flustered on socks.
Sorry, man. Sorry. What have you learned about her in this time that you've had since the engagement and the announcement of your engagement in the finale that like has maybe surprised you?
Well, I knew she was, and here's the very positive thing is, from the day one when I started doing research on Joan, she mentioned her family and how important they are to her. And just this last week in New York was a testament. And Joan called me and she said, hey, would you do this for my grandmother? And I said, absolutely. These few days that we had there. So her family is so important to her, from her aunt to her mother, to her kids, to her in-laws, to all her 3 grandbabies, and her friends are very important too. And so that's one thing that I really love about her. And then, you find out too is, can you, we don't live together, but we spend time together. Are you okay with that? It's from the temperature to the fans to the TVs on to those type of things. And I think when you're younger, that stuff might bother you a little bit. But when you're older, you're just like, hey, it's okay. We'll work through this. So Joan is competitive. I've said that too. A crossword puzzle. She's going to take me to the end. Math tests, those type of things. The one thing I will not compete with her is speed racing, driving through DC. Won that. And then try to find the best parking spot in the world. She has that hands down. She's number 1. And then her friend Linda is number 2. And then my daughter is number 3. And so that's one of the fun things about getting to know people. But Joan's a great person, a great dresser, has great taste. And again, she loves her family.
Well, listen, and we're going to get to the Golden Bachelor cast here that's going to be joining Bachelor in Paradise. We're going to get to that in a second. But just listening to you two talk, and I mean this in the best way possible, you sound like an old married couple. It doesn't seem like you've only known each other for 10 months. Is that crazy for me to say? It seems like you two have known each other so much longer than that and have been together so much longer than that.
Well, and at times it feels like 5 to 6 to 7 years where you're like, okay, whatever. Let's just make it easy on both of us. Where do you want to eat? What do you want to do? So, that's one of the beauties of, I want to say, a mature relationship.
Joan, do you agree?
We kind of got to that comfort level really quickly. In fact, it happened, I felt like, and I don't know if Chock felt the same way, but when we were in Disneyland, which was the very first date on the show, I took him on
with Gina.
I remember.
Yes. And took him on that very first date, and we were like super comfortable with each other right away. We started talking to the point where the producers were around us after maybe the first 15 minutes, and they go, could you like look at the sites and like go, oh, there's Mickey, or say something? And it's because we were so involved in like our conversation and getting to know each other as we walked down the streets with like the cameramen were walking backwards, in front of us. There were, people everywhere. We were surrounded by this whole, group of people, the whole entourage of people filming. And we were like in our own little world. We really were. So we had that comfort very, very, very quickly, which makes it easy to kind of move through the steps of the relationship to kind of get to the end where you need to be at the end of the show, when you're making the big decision. It happened really early for us, which was really good because it made the progression pretty easy.
You two were smitten kittens when I talked to you, and I talked to you separately. So when I saw Chock, I was like, oh yeah, he's head over heels. And the same with you too. Like when we spoke afterwards, it was like, yep, she's in.
For the record, Gina was also smitten with both of you, just so we're clear on that.
She was like Team Joan and Chock from the very beginning, for sure.
I told you guys it was that date. It was that date where I was like, yep, that was it. So I was correct.
You were.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You were good. Well, you're an old Bachelor person, so you can tell.
Wait a minute.
Hey, I was gonna say Gina's not gonna like that.
Old. I meant like experienced old. We're old. Chock and I are old.
It's what makes her an expert, right?
That's what makes her an expert.
Younger than you.
As you are. You're way younger than us.
Joan, that was the line of the podcast so far. That was great.
Oh, geez, that's gonna be the clickbait. I don't want that to be the clickbait.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So we're really excited about this golden cast members that are coming
Bachelor
up.
in Paradise.
We've got April, CK, Jack, Kathy, Keith, Kim, Leslie, Natasha, and RJ. And it's a group of 10 of them.
Yep.
Right? And I mean, what do you guys think about this? Are there some love connections that could occur amongst this group?
I will tell you, I sure hope so. I want everyone to be happy and to find love. And I know a few of them have spoken, have had conversations, some text conversations. So, we don't know the outcome, or at least I don't know the outcome. And I just wish them all luck. And hopefully they had fun. And, I know Keith's going to be the life of the party, or at least he'll be one of them. You can keep up with the young guys. But, it was an opportunity. 5 or 6 of them called me prior to going on. And I said, absolutely, go do this. If you're not in a committed relationship, go try this, go see what happens and have some fun with life. And I sure hope they did. It's mum's the word since they quit filming. But I think, Joan, didn't you say it comes out like July 7th?
It airs on July 7th. And I kind of feel the same way as Chock did. I think that the women were less apprehensive for some reason about going on the show. And like a lot of them were really excited to go, and they only picked like 5. But, we, as older people, we come to this with a lot of history. So, making history in a good way, in that you analyze your relationships differently. So I know we have a whole group of young people there, and then we have the golden people. And I feel like the young people are looking for somebody to start a life with, to have babies with, build a career and a family and do all these things. As the older, like the other, section of that island, with the older people, I think they're a lot more settled and a lot more, like they know themselves better. And they probably went into this with a lot less angst. And I think that is a good recipe for maybe some connections to happen. There's not as much infighting. There's not as much angst. I almost feel there's not as much on the line. They're not picking a partner to be their children's father, and they're not looking at careers and things like that. We're kind of done all of that, and now it's just about finding a partner to enjoy the rest of your life with.
And that's well said by both of you, and we are so excited to watch this unfold. History for Bachelor in Paradise, mixing the regular cast with the Goldens. It all starts on July 7th. We know you guys are short on time, so before we go, I have 2 questions. Joan, one, since you were the bartender at the Hulu event, will we see you pinch hitting for Wells in Bachelor in Paradise as the guest bartender?
I've never in my life made like a really good, I can only make one drink, and it's called an Orange Crush, and it's American. The only thing I know how to make, other than I can do like a gin and tonic or something. But I would love to come to Paradise one day. I never got to do that because I ended up with a wonderful partner. So I never get invited to Paradise. So I would An auxiliary role, like a bartender.
Like Wells needs an assistant bartender, a bar back, if you will.
Sometimes people
Yeah,
participate
barback.
in the
I'll do
dance.
Yeah.
this. Nice.
Why not? I think that sounds great. And second and final question, any timeline updates on A, when you guys want to move in together, and B, when nuptials may be happening here in our future?
Well, we've got to find a place with a big enough closet space for all of Joan's shoes.
And your socks, Chock.
Socks and shoes. Go
There.
That's a little, I guess, hypocritical or
Hypocritical?
what would be the word? Not hypercritical, but I probably have more clothes than Joan, and I probably do maybe buy 2 times as much. So that's a little bit of a joke. So.
He has an insane amount of clothing.
Yeah. So we're looking at New York to get a place September.
Okay.
Starting there. We just really wanted to wait till we got through the summer season. We've been so busy. Joan has a big weekend coming in Maryland at the shore with all of her family and kids, and my kids are going to come. So that's going to be a big 2-week party and celebration. So, and it's just, we've been so busy, but we were in New York. We missed it. We did. We had fun. And each time we go, we kind of fall in love with a different place in New York, a different area. This time we kind of stayed Midtown South, and it was great. Nice people, so you just learn every time you go there.
Well, listen, we can't wait to throw a big housewarming party for you when you move to town here.
Come in studio.
Come in studio.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question real
Yes,
quick?
of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys ask all the questions, but again, I do apologize for being late and not having my makeup on. But what can you tell us about the Golden Bachelor? I mean, everybody's asking me. That is such a popular topic right now.
Ryan met him.
And Chock, you met him as well, didn't you?
Well, I was close to him. I didn't have an opportunity to meet him because he
Okay.
had like 75 ladies just swooning over him and Jesse interviewing him. So I did not have an opportunity to do that.
I had a chance to chat with him at Disney Upfronts, and he's very grounded, very cool, very excited about this journey. And he was already a little dumbfounded, to your point, Chock, about why people were coming up to him and wanting to take pictures. And I said, this is just the beginning, buddy. You're about to be a member of Bachelor Nation.
Just
and as you
wait.
two can attest, yes, just wait.
Okay. I got a great story for you on that. So I'm in North Carolina, Charlotte. My kids take me out Friday night. Of course, they take me to this hip happening place. And I see a lady about 28 years old kind of staring at me, and I see her walking up to me, and I'm kind of used to this. And she walked up and she goes, "You're that Bachelor guy, aren't you? The Golden Bachelor guy?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Yeah, I thought I recognized you." And I go, "This is Taylor and Tyler." And she goes, "Oh, are these your grandkids?"
Oh.
So I was in the gym the next morning. I've got some Botox that I've got scheduled, little facelift,
that's
and all
great.
that. So it was fun. It kind of hurt, but I was like, "Grandkids, come on!"
Oh, that is great.
Did
Well,
Taylor and Tyler at least jump in and say, no, we're his kids?
Yes, they did.
Oh,
They did.
good.
thankfully,
I worked-
somebody cleared the air.
I worked the whole night trying to find my daughter that perfect guy.
Yeah.
My son is dating someone, but my daughter, she is picky. She is picky.
Sounds like
my
she'd make a
gosh.
great
Look, there's
bachelorette.
nothing
Yeah, let's get her on the show,
Yeah.
Chock. It worked for Dad. Why not? Let's do it.
It's like my joke is she could eat a billionaire's son up very easily.
Wow.
She was at the Hulu event with you, right? I think I
Yes,
guessed
she
that.
was. Yes.
There were plenty of men there. Probably.
Yeah. See.
Were you more picky about like trying to, introduce her to people that day?
Well, you know what we all do in love is, and I jokingly say that, but you want them to be happy.
Yeah.
And, my son and I talked about, because he's starting to get in a serious relationship, and she seems, Gracie, and she seems like a very nice person. And I said, Tyler, especially as Joan and I've talked about this, and we've mentioned this on numerous podcasts, the compatibility is so important. And even at a young age, because you have to get along, you have to say morals, everything else, you want to raise your kids the same way. You can't be a mirror of each other, but the compatibility is so important. So I just want my kids, I want Joan's kids. Joan's kids are all with significant others. You just want them to be happy and live life to the fullest and have kids. We all want our grandbabies. Joan's got 3 and she wants 5 or 6 more.
At least.
That's your chance to just hold a little baby again. It's just like, I definitely
and then give
I
them
want
back,
grandkids someday.
I was going to say, your kids aren't even 10
I
yet. You already want to have
know,
grandkids?
I know. My
Grandkids are
neighbor's
great.
having a baby, and I'm like, I'm going over there as soon as that baby's arrives.
Isn't there, like, I always said, I'll never get that need to hold a baby out of my system. I just had to, I had 4 kids. I'm like, I have to stop having babies. I could have 20. I'll never get it out of my system.
Well, listen, as we celebrated Father's Day yesterday, happy Father's Day to you, Chock. And I can say this unequivocally, the kids, both of your kids, are very lucky to call you guys parents. And we know they have good things ahead. And we can't wait to welcome you guys here into studio. If and when the time comes, you guys are finally New York residents, we will have you right here.
Or just here for a visit.
Or even just here for a visit.
Right?
Let's do it. I think that sounds
You'll
great.
be like our only people we know, so we'll be calling you.
Yeah.
Like, so what?
We'll do a Broadway show. Well, what Broadway shows did you guys see real quick before we let you go?
Oh my God, so good. We saw Oh Mary. Funniest show I think I've ever seen. And then Death Becomes Her.
Oh, right. Wow. Everybody's been talking about that one.
Yeah, they were both very good, very enjoyable.
Yeah, so fun. Go see those. I recommend them. Highly recommend them.
And I learned a lot of things about Abraham Lincoln they never taught me in school.
It's not true.
I know, I'm teasing. It made the humor of the show. So.
Informative and entertaining.
Yes, it was.
Which is what we try to be here on Playing the Field, and we can't thank you guys enough for being here today, taking time out of your busy schedules. And Chock, we were thankful you were able to join us, and we look forward to talking to you guys here again real soon.
Good. I apologize for being late. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, take care. That's Joan and Chock, and still as fun and lovely as ever. And
of course.
Yeah, I mean, literally 10 months in, and I meant when I said that. It feels like they've known each other for 10 years.
Solid, right?
Finishing each other's sentences. I mean, right on down the line. So.
And they know all the little tiny details.
I know.
Quirks about each other.
I know.
So that's when you know it's like legit.
Some.
Right?
And that's when you know it's legit. Hey, they're still on with us. I
We're
love
talking
it.
about you.
I know. We better say nothing but good things. So, I mean, listen, they were even better than I expected. And we think they've signed off. Yes, they've signed off now. So now we can really get into the nitty gritty here.
Well, Gina had to go, so we should let everybody know.
Oh, Gina had to go too?
Yeah.
What does she have? A junket?
Yes.
See, listen, when she's in LA, she's just got that big, too good for us.
I know.
Aura about her.
She gets to go on their dates.
She gets to go on their dates at Disneyland.
She's basically their other child at this point.
I think that's why she had to go. They're planning a family vacation.
Yeah.
Chock, Joan, and Gina.
Oh my gosh.
But listen, they were just what you hope that this is what this show is all about, right? What they are is what this show wants the end result to be for all of their couples.
And I like that they're working it out in their own way where, right now they're traveling to and from and going to each other's hometowns and taking vacations together and trying not to spend more than like 2 or 3 weeks apart from each other. And that's what's working for them right now. And continuing to grow their relationship. But they also do have these future plans of having a place in New York and eventually one day getting married. So I think they're on the right track.
I mean, maybe I'm naive. I didn't know that they weren't living together yet.
I think they've just been so busy that they kind of feel like they are when they are together, but then when they're not, they have to do their own thing with their own separate families.
And I liked how Joan said they were together for 5 days, and she's like, "Okay, I'm bored. That's enough. We're bored. We're good." And I said a good kind of bored, right, Joan?
Hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
That's where you can like lounge on the couch and have a glass of wine.
No, but listen, as someone who's been in his fair share of relationships, I think the true test of a relationship is when you can be bored with someone.
Yes.
And you don't feel that pressure to have to make conversation or do things with someone, that you can just lay on the couch, watch a show. You don't even feel like you have to talk to one another. And that's kind of, you know what I mean? I mean, you're married. It's like,
yeah, but I'm a chatterbox.
Well, and your husband gets a lot of bonus points for that. Trust me. But you know what I mean? Like when you find that true sense of comfort with someone and you don't feel like you need to be doing things on. Perfect way to put it. When you don't feel like you need to be on. And I feel like that's the comfort zone that they found in each other now. And, and they're not even living together yet, but I already feel like they've reached peak relationship status.
The fact that he's taking care of her car troubles
from
afar even, he's like, you know what, I'll manage that. And I really appreciate that about him because I think I can't imagine what Joan went through when she lost her husband because there's so many details, especially she has 4 children, all of those different things. Even when they're grown, I'm sure there's just
course.
They always say older kids, bigger problems, and bigger kids, bigger problems. So you have a lot to deal with no matter what their age, and running a household, and she had a career, and then you get in a car wreck or something, you need someone to help you out. And your friends, I don't know if they can always be there in that kind of capacity that a significant other could.
Yeah, and she touched on that. And she said, listen, I have an incredible support system, incredible family, but in a lot of respects, I still felt alone when it came to certain aspects of her life. And now Chock has been there to fill in those gaps. And to your point, he's such a good guy. He obviously felt guilty about missing the first 15 minutes of our podcast, couldn't apologize enough.
I know.
And it just goes to show you that, A, there are a lot of good people in this world. You love to see it. And you're happy that everything, to your point, that Joan has gone through, now that she's found one of those good people, and now they are the perfect complement.
Yeah, and they're a real example to the younger generation of Bachelor
Absolutely.
Nation, I think, because I think she's right. There is so much pressure for them to get married right away or move in together right away. And maybe the key is taking it slower, like the real world. Like, of course, there's those stories of people who meet and fall in love and get married within a month or a week or what have you. But I think getting to know the person, getting to know those little details that Chock and Joan know about each other, it has value, and it allows them to build their relationship.
1,000%, and we're seeing this firsthand. And unfortunately, sad news in Bachelor Nation with Grant and Juliana calling it quits. As someone who is admittedly more dialed into all this stuff than I am, I mean, I've got so much sports things to keep an eye on here in New York. We had playoffs, Knicks playoffs, and now
Stanley
we've got
Cup now.
2 first-place baseball teams and still in the NBA Finals and all this stuff going on. But I guess my question to you is your level of surprise when you got this news about Grant and Juliana.
50-50.
50-50? Okay.
I had hoped the best. And my first thought is this so weird. It went to Juliana's dad and his relationship with Grant and how close their family seemed and how well they got along. I was like, oh, what a shame that that's not going to happen. Like that didn't work out in the long run. I mean, maybe they'll stay friends in the future or something like that. I don't really know what led to the breakup. We haven't really heard a whole lot about that yet. So maybe it was somewhat amicable. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, well, they both released statements.
Statements,
they both took the high road, which you like to
nice,
see,
yeah.
yes. But I guess for me, when he started posting on Instagram a lot of these posts just by himself, talking about trying to live life to the fullest in essence, and being
in his home.
Home is where the heart is. Like, almost like not clues, but what do they call those things in movies when you
Easter eggs?
Easter eggs, thank you. Like he was giving us little Easter eggs that something may have been amiss, but even then,
Serafina said everything was fine. Maybe she wasn't dialed in on that.
She might not have been. And listen, she probably removed herself from the situation, as anybody in her position most likely would have. But given how Joan and Chock have been together for 10 months. After the show has ended, and Grant and Juliana ended, I think, in March. 3. Yeah, so it's barely been 3 months they were together, which is very similar to Gary and Teresa, who were married for 3 months.
Yeah,
and then they called it quits.
Maybe it was one of those happy couple visits didn't end up so happy.
Right,
maybe they were together and they talked it out. And I mean, I'm speculating.
Of course, but listen, let's be honest about this. We've talked about this on the podcast. It is a reality show, but it's anything but real life. And once the cameras go away and all the they did that Cinderella Castle date, and once that goes away and you're just sitting there, to Joan's point, on the couch watching a show and basically just staring at each other with nothing but you and her and him, that's when reality sets in. And you're like, is this really what we want?
Yeah.
And now there's a newfound fame on both of them. Now they're part of Bachelor Nation, and I'm sure, not to sound like this, but I'm sure their DMs are blowing up, and now they're maybe seeing the other side of,
that happens.
This adventure, and if you want to call them perks that come along with that. So it's hard to say. All we can do is speculate, but I think we can all agree that we hate to see it end the way that it did.
I would be interested. This is like deep dive into the Bachelor statistics, right? Like there's people who keep track of all the dates and all the things. I wonder if the couples that got the dates that ended up being the boring, dull ones where they make dinner together and they just hang out and they give, they draw sketches or whatever, I wonder if those couples had better success rates because they didn't get all of the theatrics and everything.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it didn't matter.
I mean, listen, Joan and Chock seemed to be an organic match from the start. And the same way with Joey and Kelsey, who are still together. And you talk about making dinner together. They had that great scene in the fantasy suite the next morning when they were making breakfast.
You could see it.
Oh, yeah, you could see it. They're giggling, tickling each other, making scrambled eggs. I mean, it's like you could definitely feel that connection. And I don't know that I ever fully felt it with Grant and Juliana looking back at it.
It felt rushed.
It felt rushed.
It felt rushed.
It felt maybe a tad forced.
He wasn't ready to make a decision.
Yes, you know what? That's a great point. That is the elephant in the room here. He didn't know what he wanted to do until literally the morning of, and then he tried to downplay it to us. With all due respect to Grant, he was downplaying it, but then Jesse's like, no, this literally was that morning he didn't know what to do. So, it's maybe that was the sign right then and there that we should have paid more attention to.
Maybe he just needed like another week.
Maybe
I don't
he
know.
did.
He needed a little more time. I think Latia is off the table though because she seems settled with being broken up.
What's going on social media? You said you and Gina had been talking.
Gina's been sending
you two
me
gossip with the Bachelor stuff, and sometimes I'm glad that I'm not privy to those conversations because I feel like my phone would be blowing up all day with you two going back and forth about all the Bachelor rumblings.
She'll send me TikToks here and there and be like, "Did you see this? Did you see this?" I have to say, I give her full credit for this because she follows these people.
She's very invested.
She's very good.
That's why she's our Bachelor insider / expert.
And I appreciate that she's like, hey, did you notice this? Because it's stuff that we should notice. And it's just, she seems resigned to her status of
Latia.
She's like kind of happy that she's single right now. And I think that she didn't directly comment on the breakup, but kind of had a weird vibe in one of the videos.
Do you think when she found out she giggled in her baby voice or she went, come on now? And did the other voice, the Grant just dumped me voice? I wonder. I think, does she feel vindicated in some sort of way?
I think she probably knew like she wasn't the right. In her mind, she probably thinks, well, I knew this wasn't the woman for you, and here you go, But who can really tell? You're not in the relationship. It's hard for anyone to know what's going on between two people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I don't know. I think, you've seen past bachelors go to their second runner-up, but that will not be the case here. I can almost guarantee it.
I would gather that will not be the case either.
Oh, gosh.
But listen, we hope nothing but the best for Grant and Juliana, and we hope that they do in fact find love, even though unfortunately it was not.
It was too late for this year's Paradise, but maybe a future.
And listen, that takes us back to our conversation. Joan said she wants to help out Wells behind the bar. As soon as she said that she was bartending the Hulu event, I was like, she should be there with Wells bartending.
She could make the snacks. She has all these Instagram videos where she shows you like party dips and things.
Yeah. And listen, we've got Jack, I'm sure, man in the grill in Paradise. They got that set up for him. I was surprised, if we look at this cast real quick before we go, I was surprised to see Kim there from the Golden Bachelorette.
I love it.
The Mansion Men. I wonder if they bust that song back out again. I would love that.
They have to sing some Mansion Men or Beach Men or Beach
Boys. Beach Boys. Yeah, that's exactly. I would love to see that happen. Any other surprises? I mean, listen, we knew Leslie was going to be in there, Keith, Jack.
We didn't see a ton of Natasha.
Yeah, Natasha was a little bit of a surprise.
We didn't see, did we see that much of RJ?
I was going to say, I didn't really remember much of RJ in the Golden Bachelor.
I'm sure they'll be great. And April, I'm so excited April is there because I really like her and I would love to see her make a love connection.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what was interesting in talking to Joan and Chock about that is because between the two of them, they know all of these people from both of their shows.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to watch the Goldens mingle with the regular Bachelor and Bachelorettes
for sure.
Here in Bachelor in Paradise, which starts July 7th. Are you have that circled,
I
underlined?
Do. Oh yeah, ready to go. Let's
emboldened
go.
on the calendar. You and Gina are definitely excited. And you know what? I'll be full disclosure. We always promise honesty on this podcast. I've never really watched Bachelor in Paradise regularly.
But you will now.
As I was going to say, now that I am the host here of the show.
Have to.
I have to watch, and I'm excited to see all of the madness.
I can't do
unfold.
all the work here.
Yeah.
Gina can't do
You've
all
done
the work.
more than enough. Let's be honest about that.
No.
And we have, who do we have coming up on the podcast when we come back? Jesse will be here.
Yes, Jesse,
Hannah and Wells, too, we're hoping.
Yes.
All leading up to Bachelor in Paradise.
I mean, that's going to be great. And they're coming in studio.
They're coming in studio?
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
Well, we can't wait to bring it to you. And if you like our podcast, what do you need to do?
Oh, like and follow.
Like and follow. This is the Playing the Field Bachelor Podcast, and we can't thank all of you enough for being here once again. We can't thank Joan and Chock enough for being here, and Gina and Jen. I'm Ryan, and we will see you next time